So I would like to explain a few things before we enter. So the crowd must go on a bit further. So we are about to enter to the Özkonak Underground City, and everything that you will see in there is completely made with chisel and hammer. That's how they make the not just the underground city, but the caves that people lived in as well. But first of all, why people lived in the caves? It's not Stone Age or something like that, not because of that. Because if you live in a regular house, in winter time, you have to cut lots of wood and you have to burn them to keep your house heated. And in summertime, it can be very hot inside. But in the caves, in here, in outside, in summertime, outside temperature can be up to like 40, 42 degrees in Celsius, and in wintertime it can be down to minus 15, 20 degrees in Celsius. It's a huge gap. But if you live inside of a cave, it's always around 10 to 15 degrees in Celsius. That's why they prefer caves, not just for themselves but for the animals as well. And most people, they think this is only 2 levels, but that's where we go. Only 2 levels can be visited right now. But what most people they don't know, this has 18 levels in here. It's one of the deepest ones in here. But why we can go to the lower levels? Because nearby area there is a water stream, and possibly from there the water leaked inside, and most of the levels are flooded right now. And normally, technically, they can evacuate the water, but they don't do that. Why? Because staying under the water for a long time, the walls became very soft. So if they evacuate the water, there can be a lack of pressure, and with that, they can, whole building can collapse, whole underground city can collapse. So they don't want that. That's why they don't touch the other part in here. So, like I mentioned, they only use it as a bunker. And in outside, normally this entrance is. There is no main entrance or main exit. There is many entrances in here, usually narrow places. But the entrance parts have been eroded, so it becomes wider within time. So the museum they only build the exterior, side in here. But normally the entrances or the exits are completely hidden. Then imagine there is like hundreds of caves in the area, so they have to, if there is any way, they have to check each and every one of them to find out, which one is underground, if they understand if it is underground. So we start to go inside now.
This is a full flight. This is a full flight.
So this all used to be solid. This all used to be filled with this kind of stone. So they have to build each and every room by chiseling it out. And this room is a stable for animals like sheep, goats, cows, and they tie them with the ropes, tying them like this to their legs, and they fill it with grass or hay, so they can feed the animals in here. We guess that these are a bit higher, so these might be for the cows, and in just the cross there is slightly lower ones. It can be for the sheep, and we also believe that the ones in the middle are for the lambs, for the babies basically. So they feed them here, and in almost the animals always stay in here, and in almost all the underground cities, the stables are in the entrance level. There is 2 reasons for that. One reason is. In most of the underground cities, not in this one, but most of the underground cities are the tunnels between the different levels are long and narrow. So it's very challenging to bring them down there. And even if you manage to do that, you have to take them outside and bring them in twice a day to feed them. They have to see sunlight as well, and that's a challenge. And the second reason, animals stink. If you put them in lower levels, it will be, that smell will go upward and it will create more discomfort. That's why they put them in the entrance level usually. And it's easier to get them out and bring them back, basically. Yeah. That's how they do that. Do you have any kind of questions so far? Do I do too much?
Take a photo, just
This is a tandoori oven. It's not very deep right now because it's filled with sand and rubble, so it will be as deep as, if you remove them, it will be as deep as 1 meter. And they put the firewood, they burn them, and they put some potteries. And inside the potteries there will be vegetables, you have the animal fat and some meat, and they cook it in here. And the smoke comes out from here, or from here. But here is the problem. Main purpose of underground city is to remain hidden. It's not to defend. Of course, if they cook it in here, enemy can see the smoke. That's why these people they only cook it once a day, which is in night time. So enemy cannot see the smoke basically.
I understand this was all solid rock, yeah, and then slowly they chipped away.
Exactly.
It must have taken so long.
Actually, no. I mean, when you touch the walls, it looks hard, but that's because of oxidation in one way. So when they first carve it out, it was of course a bit more softer than that. It makes it a bit more easier. But when the stones they touch with the oxygen for a long time, it becomes harder basically. But still, it's not a huge amount of difference basically. So inside is not still like a sand or something like that. It's still very rock, but it's easier to carve it down basically. Similar to limestone or sandstone, but it's different. This is tufstone, T-U-F. And mind your heads in here. Don't hit your head. It hurts. I know from my experiences. You see some sealed entrances to the other sections of the underground city. So they seal them because in the other side there might be some demons or something like that. Just joking. You remember most parts are flooded. That's why they don't want to risk it. That's why they just seal them, at least for now. Let's come to this room. I want to explain something in here. This is one of the food storages. In either side you see the poles. These are the food storages. That's where they store like sacks of grains like wheat and barley. And so, you see the iron cover. Imagine instead of iron cover in the same shape there is a stone cover or wooden cover, and on the sideways they cover it with clay, terracotta. So with that way they isolate the room, and once it is isolated the temperature drops 3 more degrees. And also if there is any rat or mice, they cannot smell the food and they cannot relish the food. And these are these are not temporary, these are permanent. Even if there is no war, they still keep the food in here, except winter time. In winter time outside temperature is freezing cold, and in winter time there is no war. So that's why in winter time they carry all these foods to the surface and keep them in there. But in springtime they start to carry them back in here, because in summertime it's the war season. That's when the war starts basically. So yeah, we have to wait a bit more, I guess. There is more food storages like this, but sometimes I want to show you something. They hang some stuff by ropes in here, maybe some pouches or potteries, and they keep the food, some of the foods like this. And there is some more entrance to the other sections, but it's also sealed, as you can see.
Do you know if they kept any meat?
Sorry?
Meat?
Dry meat, usually dry meat, because in this area it's famous, right? You heard of pastrami?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kayseri is famous for pastrami. It was an old Armenian food, but now Turkish people just inherited it in there. And even before the Armenians, the local people were always making, pastrami and different kind of dry meats actually. So the meat was important.
Is all meat here halal?
In Turkey?
Yeah.
Yes, right now, yes. I mean, if you want to find like pork or something like that, you have to travel to like Antalya in some hotels, and they have to specify that is pork in there. Otherwise, there will be huge fines if you put the meat in there, and if you don't write about it, there will be huge fines for it. Yeah. Yes. Literally. So we are in a winery. Since the Hittites, since 1800 BC, wine culture has been important here. And in most of the underground cities there is wineries. And I believe that the wineries are one of the most important roles. Why do I say that? Because in most underground cities I've been so far, sometimes there is more food, wineries than the food storages. Sometimes there is more wineries than the churches. Sometimes there is more wineries than the some defensive mechanisms. So there is always more wineries. So that's why I believe it's important. And they have vineyards in outside. After the harvest, they still keep them in here, and they still preserve them in here. And if they want to make a wine, they put the grapes in here, and by stepping to here, they can jump inside, and they start crushing it, and all the juice will flow from here, and through a small hole in this part, it just flows to this section. And after that, they put the juice, the grape juice, and in the backside, there is some pottery pieces, and then they put the juice in that kind of potteries, cover it up, and start the fermentation process. And after the fermentation process, they still, keep the wine in here, and they consume them. If it is wartime or if it is not wartime, they always have wine ready. And for the lights, right now we have this kind of lights, but back in that time it was pitch dark, and only light source they had is oil lamps with the linseed oil. Not just for the underground stay, but in their houses as well. They keep them in terracotta bowls, but it's not giving so much light. It's kind of like candle fire, away in the darkness. And sometimes they put them. Let me show you something. I'm sorry. Sometimes they put them in this kind of sections. Smoke comes up, and you can see the darkness in here. And luckily, this kind of stone is absorbing the smoke, so there is no problem with suffocation, and there is no problem with oxygen, because you can feel slightly of the ventilation shaft. Sorry, you can feel slightly of the air circulation, and you will see the ventilation shaft in there as well. So, mind you, head in here, we are going to this room. The food storages again, you can see these kind of sections. So they store the foods in there, and you see a small ventilation shaft in there. And that section in the left side, it's one of the wineries, and that section is where they crush the grapes and the juice flows just across the other section. And this part is for the cable TV to watch the latest shows. So we have to wait a little bit in that side. Aşağısı çok kalabalıkmışlar. Arkada mı kaldı?
Yeah, sure. The alternative, yeah, right.
We are still going to wait a little bit, because inside I've heard is crowded. So my friends, know that eventually we'll go down, and eventually we'll come back from here again. And this will be the exit in here. So let's wait a little bit more in here.
Böyle bir şey olmaz. Ondan sonra orada bekliyorlar, bir şey anlamıyorlar.
Let's get up in this part of the room.
Bunlar serbest zaman verecek bir yer değil mi?
Ya ben de bırakıyorum da ben boş olduğunda bırakıyorum. Hani böyle
Onu
bomboş.
yapabilirsiniz.
Ha.
Ama bu kadar yoğunluk da olmaz. Ha yok hatta arası gibi otoriter okuyup zaman alamadım.
I want to explain briefly. So most people after this tunnels they think these people are small people, but they are not. They are same as we are. The reason they make the tunnels low and narrow is for defense. Because imagine these people are villagers, and imagine the ancient soldiers, they are taller figures with full of armor, helmet, shield, sword. It's difficult for them to pass through these kind of tunnels. And plus, in the end of this kind of tunnels, there is a massive circular stone wall. Maybe you'll notice on the way. So they just roll it and block the way. Once they block the way, it's almost impossible to open it from other side. But it's not enough. You haven't noticed, but before the exit, in the top there was 3 holes in the top. So the villagers used to look down from these holes, and if they see any soldiers coming through the tunnel with a spear, they can strike them to their necks or to their back. So it's not a good way to die. So, and this is a ventilation shaft. Basically, by looking up, you can see if it is daytime or nighttime. Or also, you can put a big bowl on the bottom. You can collect the rain waters and the snow waters, and also you can send some people by climbing up to check if there is still enemy outside or not. That was the purpose.
Can you see? Bayağı kalabalık kurulum ama geliyorlar.
Tamam. Kaç kişi olur?
Even why were the last one?
We are in lower level, but this is closer to water. And if you look at around the lights, you can see the boss. So my friends, we have come to the understanding with other tour guides. So you can enter. This is two-way. You have to come back from here, but you can, please do not spend more than 3-4 minutes, so that it doesn't have to create a traffic in the backside. So if you don't have claustrophobia, you can visit. I'll be waiting for you, and when you come out, we'll start the exit. Okay? Yes, sir.
If we don't come up,
Sorry?
check. If we don't come up, check on us, please.
After you enter, there is a stone door in there. Sorry?
Did he say keep going?
Probably.
Okay. I thought you. I'll check on you.
Don't forget people as well.
I don't know. How are we gonna get going?
If we go down there, the oxygen stops. You only have a minute.
Are you okay? Yeah, it's good. Okay.
You okay? Yeah, cool. Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Take your kid.
Squat things out, right? Well, yeah, I suppose if you're saying that with humidity and the water gets in you.
I just don't get
I feel like it's giant.
Yeah. No, not when I'm there.
Not so easy for me. I'm still even standing.
I've got one more.
I probably would have been nervous in that. Put the camera down. What do you mean? Oh, it's not damaged the wall. But it's gotta be promoted. Look on the right.
Because usually, yeah.
Yeah. What does they usually do? How? But yeah, there's no UV light down in the ocean where the Titanic is.
What you mean, the sun?
But it doesn't go that deep.
Well, not that deep.
Like the Titanic's so hard.
Ovviamente avete visto questa pietra rotonda è una porta di emergenza. A causa di esigenza, diciamo, se viene scoperta una parte, un quartiere, la galleria di una città sotterranea finché passava la minaccia. Così signori, giù in fondo, dopo questo un po' basso, come vedete,
He told me to do that before.
Okay. Everyone is alive?
Yes, that's fine.
No casualties?
I think we make a merchant here.
No, we're done. We're done.
And then only that room and the
We were waiting for a photo with the last two. It was good.
Eu tava contando para as meninas que uma
rest of your group is in the back or? Okay. 11 people. 3 casualties.
That was his smoking shisha inside it.
Maybe, yeah. Okay, let's come to this way. So my friends, in approximately like 5 minutes, we'll be meeting in our bus. The bus, you have to go from here to right and right again, you can get there. If you like, you can take the souvenir shops. If you like, there is a WC in that side, you can use this one. And we'll be meeting around our bus. Okay? Enjoy.